Silent Scriber. Welcome to another vlog or podcast if you're listening to this. I am here. What did you think of the opening music?
It's wonderful. Still in my head.
Yes, it's very catchy. I am here with Bernadette. Bernadette, who are you?
I am Bernadette,
Okay.
your friend.
Yeah, well, yeah, okay. And what is it you do? Why am I talking to you? What is your role?
I previously worked in the charity sector and now I work in Leinster House. So I see contact that we get from charities and I wanted to help share some information of some tips and pointers that might help.
Yeah. So you work mainly with politicians.
Yes.
Now, that's what you do.
Yeah.
But you're almost like the bridge between politicians and the charity sector. You get a lot of communications from charities trying to contact politicians, is that right?
Yeah, I'm a parliamentary assistant, so I see all of the emails coming in to TDs.
Yeah.
Well, to a TD, but a lot of them are sent to all TDs.
Yeah.
So you get to see the kind of correspondence and communication that's coming in and invites to briefings and pre-budget submissions.
So that's the kind of stuff charities would be sending. They'd be trying to get your rep or your politician. They'd be trying to get politicians to come to events.
Yes.
They'd be trying to influence
policy, lobbying. Yeah. Sometimes they're just asking questions.
Yeah.
For us to ask parliamentary questions.
Okay.
But usually it's invites to briefings.
Okay.
Yeah.
And does it work? I mean, is that how charities should be using politicians? Is that the kind of thing we should be asking you?
I think so.
Yeah?
Yes, and I feel like I have learned a lot in the last 2.5 years that I would have liked to have known when I worked in the charity sector.
Because you've seen it from both sides now.
Yes.
Which is, I suppose, exactly why I'm talking to you. Because what I want to do is get your insight into, I suppose, what charities, how we can use politicians. Because I suppose we have to use politicians. But how we can do it better and maybe improve our communications.
Yes.
So in terms of people contacting you, what should we be trying to get you to do? Like, what do you think is going to benefit a charity?
I think having a relationship with a politician, either senator or a TD, is really, really important and can be really beneficial. I think obviously depending on the size of the charity, whether you're just volunteer based, the resources that you have available to you, you know, you might not, like the bigger charities, Focus Ireland have their policy people, St Vincent de Paul, you know, they have teams of people working on this. But I do think there's things that you can do even as smaller charities or volunteer led to enhance and improve how you work with politicians. So they get media coverage for you. If you get someone who is sympathetic to your cause or your organisation or who cares about it, they will raise it on a national level, they'll come to your events. You know, it's just like, I go to things, I represent my politician at things, but they don't care that I'm there, you know. They want
because you don't get the coverage.
No, like, we sign in and I'll sign in that I was there for him, so then you get contact afterwards to say, you know, thanks for sending your assistant. But obviously at the events they want the politicians there for photos, for tweets. A lot of events now have hashtags. Yeah. And you'll see them, like the Union of Students of Ireland had a briefing recently, like a drop in, and then every time a politician was coming into them, they're tweeting the photo. You know, so it's building up the social media, then the politician will retweet it to their followers and say Facebook and stuff. So it's raising your profile among potential donors and supporters, but also then on a national level. So
almost like similar to like a celebrity, we can kind of leverage them. You know, but a terrible celebrity, but that we can leverage to get our cause out there. Yeah. But even more than that, I mean, almost more powerful than some celebrities because they have influence on law and policy.
And also because celebrities don't need you, but politicians will see you as votes. Or depending on what the issue is, like animal welfare is a really big thing that gets a lot of people get in contact and get really angry. So when there's something particular happening in the news or whatever, you know, it raises the profile, and I think they need you as much as you need them. But I think that's why so many charities and organisations contact all of them, and they can't go to everything. And that's been, so I've been looking at things from the point of view is if I was that person in the charity contacting the TD, and they're getting asked to things on like a Monday or Friday. Country TDs aren't even in Dublin usually on Mondays and Fridays. They're only there when the Dáil is sitting. During the summer, there's no point having briefings during summer recess because they're all off in their own constituencies doing their own things.
Yeah.
So it's about maximising the time that they're in the Dáil and when you think they're more likely to come. I didn't realise Buswell's is like the main place for briefings.
Because it's across the road from
Yeah, exactly. They just pop in and out. Kildare Street, there's is it the Royal College of Physicians? There's a couple of places around Kildare Street that are the main.
So as obvious as that sounds, it's important you make it convenient for them because they're obviously pretty busy and getting pulled in a lot of directions.
Yeah, like I don't know how much Buswell's charges. I don't know, but if you have something coming up that's really important, the proximity to the Dáil will definitely increase your chances of getting them to come in. And sometimes they just come in for the photo op as well.
Yeah.
You know, it's not necessarily that they're going to go over and listen to the whole submission. They might go over just so that they can tweet.
Yeah, well you're both working the game.
Yeah.
So, okay, talk me through it. If I wanted to, if I have a message that's important to get to a politician, or I want them involved in something, or I want to be heard by your the person you're representing, what is it? Is it an email? Is it picking up the phone to you?
So I can't speak for all offices. But I did speak to some of my fellow parliamentary assistants before chatting to you to try and get a sense of what's best.
We won't hold you to.
Yeah, well no, this thing, all of this is pinch of salt. My experience, we get bombarded with emails.
Okay.
And if it says, so you can send to members that are up to study and it goes to all of them.
Okay.
They're more likely to respond when it is addressed to them personally. Sometimes people ring and say, did you get that email? Is he coming to the briefing? And usually you can't confirm. Yeah. Because speaking time could come up. Yeah. Something could come up. So just because they RSVP to something doesn't mean they're actually going to go. So I'd be contacting them separately, personally, depending on how big the event is going to be. Maybe follow up with one phone call, but know that even if they say, oh yeah, definitely 100%, doesn't necessarily mean they're going to be there. Keeping lists of who you've contacted and who has gotten back to you is really useful, because like things come up all the time, and especially with speaking time, you don't know, or with questions, they don't know when they're going to have to be in the Dáil or the Seanad, so they might have the best of intentions to go to something and then get called in to speak. So if you follow up afterwards with an email to say, really sorry you couldn't make it, here's a copy of our submission, we're available to meet you at your convenience, you know, that's a really good. Or then also, really sorry you couldn't make it, thanks for sending your assistant, here's a copy of our submission, available to meet when you want.
And by submission you're talking about essentially all the non-profits' wishes or beliefs that they're the message that they're trying to get across.
Yeah, so a lot of, especially the bigger ones, but a lot of charities seem to be doing pre-budget submissions now. So yeah, they're basically doing a wish list of, this is all the money that I want for all of the important things that I do, which is amazing, but something that I've noticed in it is people will say, you know, we need 10 million for this, 5 million for that, whatever it is, or 500,000, you know, it tends to be the bigger charities contacting us, but sometimes they're not saying what specifically a service would cost, or where they think that money should come from. So some charities that contact us are really clever about it. They will, and a lot of politicians do it. You can ask them to raise parliamentary questions on your behalf. So if you start a relationship with a politician, and then you can contact his office directly and say, can you ask how much it would cost to I don't know, like increase home help hours by 100,000. How much would it cost to restore job seekers allowance for under 25s? But like throughout the year be gathering up this information, and then it goes into your pre-budget submission. So when you're asking for stuff, if you're saying all under 25s should be on the full rate of job seekers, you can say to do that it would cost blah. Because they've already told you that's already been answered in parliamentary questions. Yeah, so we can send in parliamentary questions to ministers. They normally reply within a couple of days, depending, and sometimes you get a hold and reply. So it might take a while. So that's why you'd need to, like, you couldn't, if you needed the information within 2 or 3 weeks, that's not enough time. You'd need to be kind of spreading it out over a few months. So it's a long-term relationship towards your goal, isn't it? It's kind of like managing that relationship almost on a personal level, getting a little bit personal so that they know you. I mean, obviously you're seeing repeat submissions, and there must be some people that you'll almost go to first because you know them. You know they're going to ask stuff for you. Yeah, and it's not even just with the politician, but his staff as well. Like each of them have at least a secretarial assistant and a parliamentary assistant. Usually it's the PA who does the national questions. Yeah. Or it could be something as well about, like bringing up a topical issue debate. So if something like, I don't know, if it's like a local youth group or something, and their funding is about to be cut, and it means that like the 50 kids that come in and use the service are going to be without the service, they can contact the politician and say, this is what your constituency, it's always better if it's the constituency as well. This is what your constituency is going to lose if this happens. How can you help? And a way of doing that is through the topical issues as well, where they ask the Ceann Comhairle if they can speak about this in the Dáil, and they get like 4 or 5 minutes to talk about it, and the minister or a rep has to respond. But then it means you can follow up with an email to say, that youth club is going to close down. What are you going to do with it? Can you meet with them? And you're the go-between. I suppose if they're a minister, if they're in government, it's different, but we're in opposition, so we're a go-between to get the access to the ministers who have the purse. But there's nothing to stop us as as non-profits having relationships with both sides and every side. Absolutely. And I think what I've noticed is, I think sometimes people think that just because they're a TD, they have access to decisions around how money is going to be spent or allocated, and they don't. Like, from opposition, it really does come down to power and managing expectations. So opposition benches can definitely raise issues and challenge and kind of push things, but the financial decisions do rest. In terms of a pre-budget submission, that's not necessarily the route to go down when you've got contact to someone in power. But also then the committees, each of the department, there's a number of committees that have members from across opposition and government. So if you're working on something, and so the big charities with the resources have the policy people. I don't see why, if you're a smaller charity, there's people studying politics, policy, political communications. It would be such an amazing experience for them to get an internship with a smaller charity and be working on this for you. I don't know if many places do that. Like on a voluntary basis, working with the student. If it's not happening, if I was running a small charity now, that would 100% be definitely. Because it must be time consuming to pull this information together and submit, and I suppose you're doing it almost contacting on like a weekly, every couple of weeks you're checking in. Depending on what's happening. So like, say with the I'm trying to think, what there was a recent bill, like I've done a lot of stuff around road safety, so when there's legislation coming up, you need to know what, like, so you need to know, as a charity, you should know what legislation is coming up that affects you, that might affect you. Obviously, like the charities, regulatory authority and all of that affected everybody.
Yeah.
But then depending on what sector you're in, you should know what's coming up. You should know if you need to be putting in amendments. If it's something that's going to affect you or your service users or your community, why would you not want to have a say in that? Like, why would you just let politicians who don't necessarily know what's happening on the ground, you know, just work away with it?
Yeah.
So that's where I think a political student could because it would be such an amazing experience for them. And then you could just task them with go and develop this relationship with the politician. Yeah.
So in terms of briefly mistakes we need to look out for, is there anything that you're seeing come up time and time again that we should avoid when we're contacting politicians?
One of the things has definitely been the timing. Like when you see an invite to something on like a Monday morning, or even early on a Tuesday, like this doll doesn't start until 2:00 on Tuesdays. They start at like 12 and 12 on Wednesday and Thursdays. Later on a Thursday afternoon, most of the country TDs are going to be gone home. And they won't come in until a Tuesday afternoon. So Mondays, Fridays, Tuesday mornings are not great times to be inviting people. The other thing is, and I don't know if there's a way of finding out, but some weeks are just back to back.
Yeah. And
I think a big thing would be trying to maybe work together. If it was something like maybe you have your own pre-budget submission, but maybe you have a joint briefing day where and they seem to work quite well, where groups might be in Buswells from say like 11 to 2 or something, and they're like drop in and have a chat.
You mean like a number of organisations in the charity section?
Yeah, like the climate change groups are really good at doing that. Like they'll all be there together and they'll all have their own little bits that they're talking to you about. Yeah. But it's I think it's about pooling the resources.
And again, making it more convenient for the politicians. Like that seems to be the theme of what you're saying is we always need to be thinking about making their job as easier as possible, so that they're more likely to do it for you, and building that relationship into it.
Yeah, and I think definitely using them more. I'm just looking to see if I had led
I think you're supposed to pretend the notes aren't there.
Sorry. But no, this is really important. I don't want to forget anything.
Is there anything else you want to bring up from your notes before we wrap it up?
Don't do stuff over the summer recess. Have a look at speeches on, like, everything is on the Oireachtas website. Yeah. So you can go in if there's someone in your constituency and you're like, I wonder if they're interested in disability services or animal welfare. You can see the kind of things that they've been talking about.
Oh yeah, and tap into that. So actually find, rather than blanket, actually focus on the ones who are more likely to respond to you.
Yeah,
more likely to be interested.
Exactly. Like there would be no point contacting Danny Healy-Rae about climate change stuff, or no, can I say that?
Yeah, we can say it.
Okay. No, or like for pro-choice.
Because it's just a waste of time.
Yeah, it's whereas you see them talking about things, or you'll see them on the press, you'll see them supporting causes, and if they already have some sort of connection with the cause or similar, then that's going to be your way in.
They're more likely to respond. Yeah. All right, cool. Anything else to add? Is politics, is it all a load of shit?
No, of course not.
All right, great.
They're making the laws of the country.
Fantastic. All right, that's it. Thank you very much for your time. That was very enlightening and very helpful. And that's it. Until next time. Thank you.